wait, so this girl that you're in the relationship now, is this the one that you met in a AA meeting, or is this
big time?
Okay, so this is like it happened like soon after you took your break, right?
Yeah, actually like 3 or 4 days after.
Really?
I went to a meeting on the West Side, and yeah, I just met her, and then I realized that the 12-step program wasn't really for us, and then we just been. She's sober now still.
Oh, so because how would you define your sobriety at this point?
I don't really like party like that, but I still, moderation from time to time. I don't do any drugs.
Because it felt like when we were talking, when you took that break, that you felt to a certain extent like you needed to do some kind of like personal evolution, some kind of contrition, and you definitely at a certain point, I think, had a real problem with partying, but it also seemed like you kind of quickly realized that you weren't a traditional alcoholic, right?
No, but I think the world had a way of letting me know, like, you have to slow down with the way you're living. It was just never enough for me. Yeah. Not to the point that I was like strung out, but it was like if someone was having a function or wanted to kick it, wherever they were at, I was always down. I had to shut that part off.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, you're still young enough that consuming a shitload of alcohol is not going to like fuck you up to an extreme degree.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, for how many years can that go on for before you start looking like shit? Yeah. You know what I mean?
I know guys who are still well into their 40s who are still drinking, going out every single night. And yeah, the wear and tear on your body definitely has a pretty big effect.
My dad drinks a lot, and he looks great.
Really?
So I think I genetically probably would be able to, but it just doesn't feel good. I hate being hungover. I like having clarity of mind. Yeah. I smoked weed the other day though. That shit was dope.
Just one time?
Yeah, my homie ordered me some like an ounce from a dispensary. And I smoked a fat ass backwood.
Wow.
Yeah, like I was in high school, bro. It was
like
amazing.
You were passing it back and forth.
I was passing it back to myself
over
and over again.
You just faced it?
I faced it, bro. I was so high.
That's sick.
I was so high, I bought an Xbox. I started playing Call of Duty Black Ops 6, like Team Deathmatch. You know what I mean? I even bought a headset. I was so baked. I was yelling at fools. Like I felt like I was really in combat.
Definitely. Backwood life is a good life. No, but I had the flu a couple weeks ago, and I didn't smoke weed for like 4 days, and I felt myself having these intense dreams where I felt like I was kind of like sorting through things that I maybe like hadn't been actively thinking about in my waking life. And then I started smoking again a little bit here and there. And just like how much higher I got once I took like a 4 or 5 day break, it was like, oh, I fucking love this shit. Like it's just, it feels so good, even though it might f with my sleep and it probably lowers your testosterone, et cetera. But it's just, it's just so good. Like, I don't know, when you just get out of your head, sitting there watching a movie or whatever. But I have like massively slowed down with the weed. Like even just having a kid and kind of like going outside to hit the spliff while I'm raising like a 1-year-old just really started to feel kind of disgusting to me. And my kid knows that smoking is bad, but she's never seen me smoke. She still has never caught me with a cigarette or a joint or anything.
You think that would like shatter her image of yourself as like the father figure?
Well, like she knows alcohol is bad, but she also knows that like her grandfather drinks alcohol, and she thinks that's funny. Not my dad, her dad, Lena's dad. She thinks that's pretty funny. Yeah. But I think that she, in her head, cigarettes are like a bridge too far. Like she knows. That
cigarettes are horrible.
Bad. Yeah.
I probably do like one every once in a while.
Yeah, there's a pack of cigarettes out there, and I'm thinking about it right now.
Yeah, as soon as we're done, I'm down. We'll rip a couple.
Hell yeah. No, I think it's good to not do that on the podcast. But sometimes when I sit down and I know it's going to be a 3-hour podcast, and there's that fucking pack of cigarettes over there. Fuck you, Mikey, for leaving. He went to the Bahamas and he left the pack of cigarettes over there, and it pisses me off because it's also like these really small Marlboros to the point where like you can smoke it and it doesn't make you feel like you just had too much.
Yeah. I'm going to Jamaica tomorrow. Shout out to the homie who went to the Bahamas. My first Caribbean vacation.
You're just going there to chill?
Well, my girl's name is Jamaica. Wow. So I'm thinking it's Jamaica's Jamaican vacation. And so I'm about to go out there. I'm really just going to see how they react to her ID in the customs line.
Wow. So do you do the Jamaican me crazy joke with her all the time?
Nah, I got to think of new ones. I tried it and she just didn't laugh. I was like, am I the 10,000th person to say that?
You know how much she gets that?
Yeah, she's like, that's so funny.
Wow. Oh, man. I hate that when you think you have a good joke and you hit them with it and then you realize like, oh, that's the,
you're like,
that's the joke you've been hearing your entire life. Like I'm the lamest person in the world for thinking that was a good joke.
Yeah, definitely.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I enjoyed the Dear Kelly film very much.
Thanks, man.
At what point did you realize this was going to be something that was going to be separate from your usual content? Because obviously from like a production standpoint, it's kind of like on the level of your YouTube stuff, which makes it a little bit different from the This Place Sucks, which was a little bit more high quality, I guess.
Whatever.
It was really a lot of the same stuff. You don't seem like you have that elitist attitude towards how stuff is filmed. It could be an iPhone clip. It could be filmed on a real camera.
As long as the audio is good, though. I'm pretty elitist about audio quality because you can have like the shittiest video in the world, clean audio track, you're good.
Yeah.
On the reverse, bad audio track with the crispiest video, it's garbage.
Learned that lesson many, many times. But okay, like that started out as something that was probably going to be a YouTube video, and then at what point does it become a movie in your mind?
I think it was a couple things, like just the amount of footage. We had 350 hours of footage in total, including digitized VHS tapes of his whole family from the 90s. So assuming the first shoot was the White Lives Matter rally in Huntington Beach, California,
right,
and the last shoot was Uncle Pill at the skate park in Oceanside 3.5 weeks ago, we're talking 4 entire years of shooting.
Wow.
And so I was like, dude, and especially certain scenes were so heavy, like the intervention scene, and there was like an emotional arc to it. And I was like, yo, this can't be a YouTube video. So I linked up with a couple homies. We figured out how to build like a studio space, like a liminal space to record a director's chair monologue and kind of pieced it together that way.
Wow. Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of like a roller coaster watching it because when you're trying to get this guy help and basically like turn him into a better, more examined version of himself, in my head when I'm watching it, I'm like, what the like this guy to me already, I just assume he's a lost cause. Like you cannot help a person who's this far down the rabbit hole, but then you start to see the potential that he might have when you do the intervention, and I'm thinking like, oh, okay, this guy actually is capable of changing. Maybe I'm overtly cynical. Maybe I should be more open-minded to the idea that people can change. But then by the end of it, I don't want to spoil for him too much, but it's a lot harder to pull people out of their sunken place than you might expect.
I think part of it had to do with the emphasis they placed back to the weed on cannabis with his sort of political psychosis. Like, I don't know if it was the treatment center itself that like made him kind of like blame everything on weed, or if he went to the treatment center and was like, I'm gonna tell these people it's about weed so I can just kind of hide from the real shit that's happening beneath. But like when he got out of rehab, he was straight up like, yo, all I gotta do is stop smoking and everything's gonna fall back into place. And I'm like, bro, I think weed might be one of like the 10 things you're dealing with right now.
Right.
But I know that weed can, if you're like prone to schizophrenia or paranoid thinking, I know that weed can compound that shit.
Yeah. So in what form was he consuming weed? Because that doesn't really come across clearly in it. Like, so I'm wondering, is he like a dab head, or is he just sort of smoking spliffs? Or...
You ready?
Yeah.
Bubbler.
The bubbler.
Dry bubbler.
Really?
Yeah, 5 times a day.
Because he seems like he's broke too, and I'm kind of thinking like, how much weed is he consuming? Because it's kind of an expensive habit at a certain point.
He's broke, but he always keeps enough money for kush.
Really?
A lot of people are like that.
Wow.
You know? But yeah, he was smoking a lot. And I don't know, some people, I don't know if this is like a fake trope, but some people have said that weed's gotten a lot stronger in the past 30 years.
For sure.
So people who like grew up smoking weed in the 90s, you know, whatever bush weed they're smoking back then, transition into a much higher yield THC product.
Because do you ever see the pictures of Bob Marley? And he's got like a huge pile of weed in front of him, and it looks like absolute garbage. Like my modern mind doesn't even process it as weed. Like if that was in front of me right now, I would have no temptation to consume
it. Doesn't even look like standard flower.
It looks like grass clippings. Like it just doesn't look like anything that any pothead that I know would smoke. And I've smoked the worst of the worst. I've smoked brick weed in Argentina, which is worthy of examination because it's so fucking trash.